My parents disapprove of my relationship. They'd rather I marry a stranger.
I mean, what's just a random guy among family?
By the way, quick trigger warning, there is physical violence. If you want to skip to the next story, go ahead and do so. My boyfriend, white 21 male, and I, Indian 20, have been dating for 2 years now. We met in college, and for the past 2 years, I hid this relationship from my parents as they are super conservative, and I guess I was scared to tell them. By the way, this comes from Mucho Stress 2014, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. A little background on my family. We've been living in the States for almost 15 years. My mother does not speak English, and it seems whenever I do anything against my parents' wishes, they start shouting that I've become too American, and almost always use emotional blackmail on me in those instances. Anyways, the other day, boyfriend and I went to a restaurant for a date, and I decided to stop by my parents' house to drop off some food for them. I figured I could just show them me hanging out with a guy to prepare them later for finding out that I was dating him. Boyfriend and I drop off the food, and I simply said, we're going to call him Dakota.
Oh, no.
We'll call him Bob.
Nice.
This is Bob, pointing to boyfriend. Not specifying what our relationship was, my parents' faces showed a mixture of shock, surprise, a little anger, but I was not completely sure. After the very quick intro, boyfriend and I headed back to college. The next day, I hung out with my mother, and she told me the guy last night had an innocent face, and that she liked that. I realized this was good. This was a good segue, and I said, yeah, also, he and I have been on like 1 or 2 dates, and we're sort of dating.
Yeah, real smooth segue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, his innocent face. I've been kissing it.
Oh, God. Not so innocent anymore now, huh? She took the news a lot better than I thought she would, saying that it was okay on her side, but I needed to talk to my dad.
Oh,
boy. Well, after a couple of days, since I kept not being able to muster up the courage to tell him, I spoke to my father. I told him that I and the guy he had met last week had been on 1 to 2 dates and we were currently dating. And since it was an important event in my life, I wanted to tell them, my parents, about it. I also asked if it was okay to have him over at our house for the summer so I could hang out with him. My dad immediately grew very serious and replied, no. He went on to say, why do you need a date? If you want a boy, meaning for marriage, I will find you one. I, of course, replied, I'm not talking about marriage. I haven't even started medical school yet. After that, here is the gist of what he said. You need to end this. You're our only hope here.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And I can't imagine an American in the family. You are a role model for your sister. Keep that in mind. I didn't reply anything. And soon we reached where he was dropping me off, so I got out of the car. So that was yesterday morning, and since then, he has not talked to me. Last night when he came home, my mother asked everyone to come to dinner, and he kept saying that he wasn't hungry / didn't have an appetite. After a lot of persuading by my mother, he finally agreed to eat in the living room. That was 24 hours ago. Today in the evening, I took a little nap and woke up to my parents discussing me upstairs. My father was saying she has become modern, wanting to date. My brother also did his medicine in the United States, and he didn't even think about dating anyone in this time. She has no shame. Then I also heard my mother crying and saying, who do we have to live for? We could find her a medical boy. And my dad replies, she herself hasn't done medicine yet. After hearing that, I didn't want to hear any more and went to the bathroom. I don't know what to do. I'm very nervous and extremely stressed all the time, and I don't feel like eating anything. I am trying to feel happy, but then I hear stuff like this. My parents have never been the encouraging kind. The other night we were going out to dinner and I wore a dress and a blazer, and he said, you look like, I don't know if that word is bad or not, but I'll say the English version. You look like a blank, meaning like a villager or uncivilized. That made me cry. Dude, very insanely mean thing to say to your daughter. And when he saw me crying, he was like, stop it. I replied, other dads tell their daughter how beautiful they are.
Stop it. You're making it worse. It's like, this guy's brutal.
God, yes.
Who is this guy?
So brutal.
God.
I replied, other dads tell their daughters how beautiful they look on their graduation. And then there's you. He didn't reply anything to that. Anyways, that was a side story. But the point is, my dad can be quite an a-hole sometimes. And I don't know how this whole situation is going to sort out. I obviously do not want to stop dating my boyfriend and would like my family to accept what's going on. I think deep down, I also fear getting sent back to India or something. I wish my parents could see that dating my boyfriend makes me happy. I'm scared to talk to them, especially my dad. Any advice would be appreciated. Thank you. Please note that moving out is completely out of the question, as I am planning to go to a professional school and my father will be helping me pay for it. And we've got some comments coming up. But yeah, I mean, look, just to get right down to the root of it, at the end of the day, daughter is going to live daughter's life, and you can't control, what someone is going to do. I know there's cultural factors here at play, and I'm not, here to say I understand completely the ins and outs of all those dynamics, but at the end of the day, you just can't control someone.
I mean, it's definitely silly to like, maybe you can control someone. Very silly to expect them to like, be like, thank you. By the way, I'm really glad that you did that to me, by the way.
Thank you for controlling me and limiting me of all my options.
I'm so glad I'm not allowed to decide anything for myself. That was really great that you did that. That's
not going to be, you have to understand that is not going to be the response.
Yeah.
You got to be ready for, so if you try to control someone,
just get ready for them to like want nothing to do with you as soon as they get control of their own stuff.
Yeah. But we have some relevant comments. Comment 1, I think you need to shut this discussion down. I'm Indian, and the thing is, not me, this commenter. I'm Indian, and the thing is, you keep asking your parents for permission and approval. Surely they'll say no if they can. The way you started off was perfect. Hey, mom, this is X. We are dating. No room for discussion, no justifying, no pleading, no emotional engaging. Then you messed it up a bit with asking your dad for permission. In my opinion, you need to do this in a super unemotional, cheerful way. I'm dating X. I will keep dating X. I have no plans to marry anytime soon. That's what's happening. Do not get sucked into an argument about it. If they try, say, this isn't up for discussion, and smile cheerfully. It's time to start being emotionally independent, though. I know it's much easier said than done. Also, you're going to move out from med school fairly soon, right? So that solves that problem. Also, if it helps, in literally every single case of a-hole Indian parents I know, the parents come around eventually. Sometimes it's not until you pop out a kid and they want to spend time with the grandkid, which admittedly is a long way off, but they always come around eventually. Well, we've seen it like a million times. All cultures is as soon as you pop out the grandbaby fever kicks in, and I'm like, oh, grandbaby, give me the grandbaby. It's like, no, now you need to behave like actual good humans. I understand what commenters are saying. I think like, OP's young, and this is probably really hard. So like, I get, yes, OP didn't perfectly execute this, whatever. But I totally agree with what they're saying of like, hey, just say, this is my boyfriend, this is what I'm doing. Like, no explanation necessary. Like, I'm making this choice and here's what it is.
I mean, a lot of the advice that we give for a lot of stories, it's like, it kind of comes down to that. It's like, it's pretty simple where it'll be like,
yes,
that like, yeah, you should just be firm with your boundaries and say, this is what's happening. I'm going to keep doing it. And if they get mad, don't engage and like pull back. But it's like, if someone's in an environment or like a dynamic where it's like, that's not a known thing, you're basically just being like, yeah, read this Greek play in Greek, please.
Yes.
And they'd be like, well, I can't. And they'd be like, well, no, you just read it. Like, I feel like that might be the situation, kind of. Like, if the parents are so domineering, it's like, you don't know how to approach them on an even level whatsoever.
Yeah, and like, in fairness to the parents, it's like, okay, if you are literally, if you have something ingrained in you, and it's like literally the thought whisper imagination of something is never even brought up as an idea,
right?
Then it's like, I could understand where it's like hard coded into your software. Also, if they keep being a pain in the butt, it might be time to pull out the big pew-pews. I've seen your arranged marriage, and seeing the way you two interact, I know that's not what I want from my marriage at all. I'm going to date, and I'm going to figure out what I want before I get married, and that's not negotiable. We didn't get I don't think we got enough of a full, clear picture on their marriage, so maybe that's too much.
It's a little inferment.
Yeah, but I think, again, like, just go back to the earlier point of like, this is what I'm doing. That's it. This morning, my maternal grandparents from India called, and my grandmother spoke to me, saying that my dad had called her, saying that she and my grandpa needed to come to the States right now.
Oh my God.
Oh, snap.
They're doing an intervention?
Dude. And asked when he should book their tickets. Of course, this is because of what I told him that I've quote unquote started dating this white guy. My grandma asked me why he was so worried. Then she proceeded to say how I should be happy because she could tell by my voice that I wasn't, and how I should make my family happy and that I need to focus on my education. Then she also said something that made me very scared, that my dad had talked about how he wants to sell our house and move back to India. Meanwhile, my mother keeps crying and saying, why are we even living here? Do you think we'd pick a wrong guy for you? Yeah, you might be dating now, but what if down the road you want to marry a white guy? I kept saying that I had introduced my boyfriend to them because it was what was making me happy. But of course, my mother kept claiming, this is not our culture. I don't care. I don't care that we've lived here for so long. You need to look at your Indian heritage. All of your relatives and family would laugh at us and at you. No one in this family is making this easy right now. So my grandmother asked me what she should tell my dad. So I told her that I wanted to discuss things with him myself and that I would later tonight. I am freaking out. I do not doubt that my dad would sell our house and move all of us to India. I will be talking to him later tonight.
What do you mean move all of us to India?
I guess because she, like, remember earlier she was like, oh, moving out right now isn't an option because I'm still like finishing school. I guess it's like, hey, I'm like full-time student. I'm kind of like relying on them for housing and everything.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting a call. Hello? Oh, wait. Oh, it is still an option though. You can just change your plans, dude.
Yes, it is an option. It is an option, but like in my head it's because I again, like the parents are clearly very involved and very in control of like what's going on. So she's just feeling like, I mean, yeah, if they sell the house and move back to India, I guess I have to go with them, but you don't. I think venturing out on her own to just like live independently and just like explore whatever, you know, literally just whatever she ends up wanting to have in her life.
Yeah.
Like that, I think it's clearly doesn't exactly align with her family. So it's like, yeah, go for that. Go for that. And yeah, it is an option. Obviously not easier said than done, but that option is there.
Oh yeah, dude.
So Opie says, I have Indian neighbors who have a son who's dating a white girl, and I'm considering calling them in private and telling them about this and asking them to stop by our house tonight when I bring this up with my dad. Maybe they will be able to help explain that dating is not a bad thing and show my dad that selling the house and moving back to India is not the answer. I am really scared, though. We have a second update.
Okay, here's what happens. They have a very, very, very fruitful discussion after OP corroborates the technique with the neighbor.
Yep. Shout out neighbors.
And they all live somewhat happily ever after.
I'm in with that. I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with that. Last night, I talked to my parents. Painful discussion. I started off the discussion saying that my dad and I were mature adults, and thus we should deal with the situation like adults, sit down and talk it out. I then said, listen, I understand that as a parent, where you are coming from, you want the best for me, but the ideas on life and your thoughts are very different from mine. At this, he interrupts me and said, you listen to me. I have sacrificed so much for this family. They married me off at 21, saying they needed the money, the dowry, and I didn't resist. Why? Because I respected my parents, and I knew that they knew the best. For me. After you go to med school and get done, you will have many opportunities to find someone. I will not stop you. The only thing I will not stand for is he has to be an American. There are millions of people in the world. Why an American? Ever since you told me about this dating thing, I kept waking up with nightmares at 4 a.m. in the morning knowing it's an American. You will never marry an American. I will be passed away to you on that day.
Why live in a place where you hate the people so much?
Dude, call back to what he said, like, I did this. Yeah. I did this so you have to.
Right. I did this because I knew my parents knew the best for me, and I clearly don't have any hard feelings about it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm making you do it like I had to do.
Anyways, I won't bore you with the details, but I was very calm, surprisingly, and didn't cry and tried to be rational, asking why he can't be American whenever I do decide to marry. All he would reply is he just can't. After a lot of blah, 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 he was like, you've become totally American and individualistic. You don't care about your family anymore. I've talked to some of my friends about selling the house in a year after your sister completes high school, and we will go back to India. At this, I said, well, what about me? I want to stay here and get a really good medical education. When he heard this, he flipped out and turned to my mom and said, do you see how shameless she is? She doesn't care that we would go back to India. She just cares about paying for her medical education. Fine, we'll sell the house and give you the money, and you can do whatever the heck you want.
I'm sorry. Her just being like, hey, so like, could I maybe stay and go to medical school if you guys do that? He's like, fine. Take all the money we make from the house and do whatever you want with the rest of your life. It's like,
cool.
oh, nice.
Let's do it. Now, of course, Opie says, I was like, that is not what I said. I meant you don't want to see me become a great doctor here. That is my dream, and I don't care about the money. I will take out loans and stuff. I would like you guys to be here when I do become a doctor. Why do I have to choose? Saying that was a dumb move on my part, lol, because it kind of gave him the idea to make me choose. And he said, you're leaving us no option. What options are you giving us? You need to choose between your family or this boy.
And to be clear, she's not planning on marrying this guy. She's just dating someone.
At this, I replied, I'm giving you an option. I am saying that I plan to keep dating him, and it would be great if I could have you guys support, but if not, what can I do? At this, he flips his crap again and screams at my mom. Do you hear what she said? She said that she's going to keep dating him, and we can either support her or she will date him anyways, and we can go to hell. I think that's actually not what she just said. After this, he threw his glasses on the floor in anger and lunged at the ground, shouting and crying as if he was going to get hurt. My mother and sister ran to stop him before he did anything like that. And then they were all hugging my dad and was like, sorry, I need to care for my younger daughter. Our older one has shamed us. I need to look after you guys. Again, he said all this while crying. Then he got on a call, and I took it as a good opportunity to grab a book and go read outside on my house on the porch. After a while, my dad comes outside saying sarcastically, yeah, I know how much reading you're getting done. Give me the number of the guy, my boyfriend. At first, I was silent. Then he asked again, and I said, no, I won't. I did not want my dad verbally abusing my boyfriend. Frowny face. So at this, he comes in front of me. I was sitting, he was standing, and very angrily, he was like, what did you say? And he physically hurt me a bit. I looked at him square in the eye and said, do not hit me again. He said, or what? Are you going to call the police on me? I said, yes, I will. I do not want to get hurt. He seemed like he was going to do something in anger again, but my mom came and took him inside. I did not want to stick around the house, so I took a walk around my neighborhood until it got super dark. I went to my room later and tried to sleep it off. I was very tired from all of it. As the second anything it's so beyond the line and unacceptable.
I would have been like, he's like, what are you going to do? Call the police? I'm like, no, I'm going to call the Oklahoma drill right now. And I would have buried him.
Then around midnight, my mom came to give me food and I decided to eat. But then she called my grandmother in India and handed me the phone. My grandmother was crying and just saying I should listen to my parents. I told her I would call her tomorrow, aka today. It's afternoon right now. I'm helping my sister study, but my mother is talking on the phone and crying loudly, saying I expected so much from her. Who do we have to live for? Blah, 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 blah. I am so tired. And no, I didn't end up taking the neighbor's help last night because they didn't answer their phone. I was going to a friend's sleepover tonight, which I told my parents about earlier in the week, and just found out that they have hid my car keys since I can't find them. Great. Everyone, my mom, my grandparents, keeps telling me I should listen to my dad. What if something happens to someone because they are stressing out about it so much? Yeah, they're like, oh, what if something happens to your dad? It's like, he's doing that to himself.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
It's like, why am I responsible for every member of my family right now?
Come on. So, yeah, there's that. And we have update number 3.
Let's go, dude.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Number 3.
Yesterday, I asked one of my friends to give me a ride to the sleepover. My dad had called earlier in the afternoon asking my mom if I was still going to the sleepover, and if I was to be back later in the night. I couldn't stay the night there. My mom conveyed this message to me, and it made me angry. First of all, he hid my keys, and then he asked whether I'm still going. Second, I told her it's a sleepover. I'm going to spend the night there, and I will be back in the morning. Anyways, last night was a much-needed getaway for me. Oh, yeah, you honestly, I didn't even think about that, but yes, you needed to just get out of that environment for a beat, for a night, for
straight up
a day, a week, whatever. It's only been like 5 days being at home, but it's felt like a lifetime. So seeing my lovely, wonderful friends was very nice. I got a chance to vent face to face, and it made me feel a little better. My friend dropped me off this morning at my house very early, and I went back to sleep. I'm up now, and I had asked my Indian neighbors whose son had been dating a white girl if they would be willing to come over tomorrow and speak with my parents along my side. I am reconsidering this now, however, because I do think it will make my father angry. And second, I don't know whether it will change their minds at all. In fact, it could spew up everything all over again. By the way, if you want to have a unlimited treasure trove of content, I'm talking over 2,000 podcast episodes for your listening pleasure.
Oh my God.
Go to Spotify, Apple, or iHeart and search OK Storytime and start listening right now. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we've pretty much said everything here. My hope is that she does do what you said in the beginning of like, it's a hard option, but it is an option of just going out and living on. She did say later in the story, like, I'm down to kind of like figure it out, get some loans, which at this point, look, not a generally advisable thing, but hey, you're going to medical school. Maybe there's some scholarships. For her life and sanity, I think this is like definitely.
I think you got to start pulling off your parents. But I said this a handful of times. I think today I'm just gonna. Would be my overall advice for like the before we get into the rest of the story, and it's that like as just a person, OP. Like, you need to sit with yourself and figure out, like, what is it you want? What do you really want? You want to go to med school out here, right? And you want to date this guy. But do you want your family to not be in your life? And it's like, you can, like, not... You have to, like, weigh all these things, but, like, find, like, the root, like, the seed, like, the most, like, the incorruptible truth of, like, this is that thing that I want. And then what do you have to do to make that happen? I don't want my family bothering me. All right, you have to now like kind of cut them off, live on your own, figure it out.
Or even just like, hey, I'm going to do this and let them do whatever they will do. Or, you know, but yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, from the dad, absolutely like that he has gone to some unforgivable grounds.
I mean, yeah, your dad's clearly a little racist.
Yeah, and he's physically assaulting his own daughter. Other choice is just to not do anything else. Give them time to think and hope their minds will change. I am tired of my mom and my grandparents crying to me about how I should listen to my dad, not break up the family, etc. What do you guys suggest? Also, thank you to every single one of you who has commented and messaged me. I am reading all of them, and they do give me hope, so thank you. You all are awesome. We have some comments. Comment number 1, why the F would they move to the U.S. and then be surprised you're dating an American? People can be so dumb. I hope you are keeping yourself safe. Comment number 2 says, since your father likes choices so much, here are his. He needs to shut up. He moved you to America for a reason. What did he assume was going to happen? He can either go to jail for the harmful act he did, or he can let you be an adult. Or, heck, let him go back to India. If you're smart enough for medical school in the States, you can probably take decent care of yourself on your own with loans and support of your friends. Comment number 3 says, I really feel for you, but in this kind of situation, you really shouldn't have escalated it. Take their money and lie. It's not worth a relationship with these a-holes. So if you can lie and be okay with them and have them give you money to then take advantage of it. I'm in a similar situation, but I'm Pakistani Canadian and I am attracted to the same gender and have a white boyfriend. I came out to my parents, disaster and upheaval. I lied, and they denied. We have a good relationship now. It sounds like a song, dude. We have a good relationship now, but don't talk about the obvious attracted to the same genderness issue. My dad even found out about my boyfriend, but I shut that discussion down. I don't rely on them for tuition, but if I ever ran out of savings, I would turn to loans first. If they're treating your relationship like a business transaction, then you should too. I mean, the only thing I'll say there is, and look, I am completely out of my weight class here and out of my league, and you know, I am not a professional. I only play one on an internet podcast, but I think there does come a day of reckoning of like living your truth. You know what I mean? In a lot of situations. And, you know, not to say that there isn't something there or that like, you know, but it's a very complicated, tough decision to make. But I think like, I'll just say, closing out this story real quick, live your truth.
My fiance claimed my mother said something hurtful, but I'm struggling to believe it's true.
False.
I am writing this to figure out what to do or who to believe in this situation. Let me start out by saying that I am white and my lovely fiance is a black woman. We have an amazing relationship and I don't want any other woman in my life. She's also the only black woman I have ever dated. By the way, this comes from user Throwaway Confused Guy. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So my parents have always been supportive of me, and I have an incredibly strong family relationship with them and my siblings, or at least I thought. When I was growing up in the Midwest, there weren't really black people around, and the topic of racism never came up really. But I never suspected that my lovely, outgoing, and polite parents would be discriminatory because they even donated money to an orphanage in Africa for like 20 years now through their church. My parents met my fiance a year ago, but did not take it too seriously because I had a lot of girlfriends in the past, and they probably just thought it was another girlfriend. Well, last weekend, I announced to them that my girlfriend was now my fiance on a family Zoom meeting. My parents looked a little surprised because I did not discuss it with them before, but were ultimately congratulating me. We wanted to have a dinner with them in person to sort of let them get to know their future daughter-in-law, and everything blew up. My mom forgot something for the dinner, and my dad and I went to the store to get it. My fiance texted me about 10 minutes in, asking me to come back right away because she needed me, and my dad and I turned around. When I got back, she was sitting in my car. I still had the keys, and she was crying, asking me to take her to our house. Of course, I drove her home and told my parents I was sorry. My fiance told me what my mom had said to her. Essentially, my fiance told me that my mom said she was, quote, not supportive of us because she didn't want black grandchildren.
Game over, Grandma.
Throw her
Game
into
over.
the pit of fire. Among a number of other things she was surprised about is that my fiance, quote, married up, even though I think my fiance is better looking than me, but I'm a bit more successful financially. Well, I confronted my mom and asked what she said, and my mom said that she said nothing even close to that, and that the only thing she said was that she was curious what country my wife was ethnically from, and that my fiance misunderstood her. That's really hard to get that misunderstanding from that question.
Yeah, that is a completely different scenario. What motivation would she have to lie about that?
Yeah, and she's like, well, no. She misunderstood me. I didn't say I hate her because she's black. I just want to make sure she's not from a place I despise. Yeah, come on, dude. I asked my fiance some more probing questions, but she is adamant that my mom explicitly said these things. I've never known either of them to be liars, but the two people I trust most in this world are giving me completely conflicting stories. I want to side with my wife, but what if she's having some mental episode or something? Is it a possibility that no one is lying here? I need some effing help. There's an edit. It could also be a mental episode with my mom, maybe, but neither have mental issues. But they can pop up in people's 20s, like my uncle. So I just said my fiance might have had a mental episode. Sorry for the confusion. We have some comments here before we get into them. Jonathan.
Yes.
John Boy.
Yes.
What are we feeling right now? Where are we going from here?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm like, what would cause fiance to break down in tears and then say this is what you're? It makes no sense, other than it's what the mom actually said to her.
Yeah.
And that she's just been essentially hiding this from you.
I'd say it's 95% that. There's like a 5% chance maybe. Have you ever like been watching like a TV show and then like while you're watching it, like someone starts talking to you, and then all of the words just go into jumble mumble talk?
Like,
Probably not. Where it's
or-
like you know exactly what's being said, but then someone will start talking in your ear, and then all of a sudden, like it just becomes like uncanny, like you can't tell what anyone's really saying or what's being. Like they were just playing loud music. And it got, I misheard you.
This is very, very, very bad. And now it is on OP to, if you are in the, not A, this is your mom, and B, she's being racist to your partner. So this is the ball has now fallen into OP's court here.
Well, we have some top comments here. Let's see what they have to say. Insomniac says, I guess ask yourself who stands to gain anything by lying. Does your fiance have anything to gain by making this up? Or does your mother have something to gain by denying it ever happened? Because personally, I'm inclined to believe your fiance. I don't see what she could possibly gain from this, whereas your mom has every reason to say it didn't happen. Here is Gone says, I'm a white guy from the deep south. This isn't even a mystery to me. Your wife is not making up anything. Trust her. The quote ethnicity dodge is old hat, and she's blaming your fiance for her own racism by saying she was misunderstood. Midwesterners I personally know have a really skewed version of what racism is, and often are not aware of how discriminatory they are exactly, because they do not get to witness it on a regular basis or be embarrassed by it on a regular basis. No offense intended, donating to a church for African or Haitian or Latin missions is the most discriminatory, colonialist, self-aggrandizing thing ever, by the way. It's a disgusting, discriminatory banner wave. I mean, like, it depends on why.
I get there's the point of like, it's the flex of like, oh hey, I'm doing this good thing and all this stuff. Yeah, like that's when you're doing it for that reason.
When
you know what I mean?
When you're doing it so that you can say, I'm not racist.
Yeah.
Look, I donated to the school in Africa.
Yeah, which I think there's a fat chunk of people that are doing that. Yeah.
My parents' church has missions to Honduras and an indoor basketball court for white kids, but won't do a dang thing for the poor black kids in one of the poorest counties in the United States. Anyway, apologies for coming across strongly. But please reinvest in your fiance by being empathetic to her and put down a hard line now that your mother's comments were unacceptable. Best of luck to you. And we have an update, folks.
Here we go.
So whose side are we on? We on mom's side? Are we on fiance's side?
I'm on fiance's side.
I don't know. The only thing I could say is if this is a misunderstanding, stop having conversations with like music at max volume on speakers the size of a SUV.
Turn off the sonic wave cannon when you're talking to each other.
Team fiance, here we go. I really didn't think it was fair the way I was characterized in the comments because I love my fiance and I believe her. But I also loved my mom and had no reason to doubt her either. It's really hard to doubt your parents when they have always been good to you your entire life up until this incident. Anyways, I was basically completely wrong about the whole situation. How? You didn't choose a side yet. I decided to call my sisters. I told them it was an emergency and we hopped on a Zoom call together. Well, I explained the crazy story to them and one of them just let out a laugh but tried to hold it back. Then I went quiet and we had a few seconds of awkwardness until she let out, "Are you really asking this?" Then she told me, "Of course, Mom is discriminatory." And my sisters agreed with her. Then they led me on a 30-minute rant about how Mom would tell them not to marry outside their race, especially black people, because these marriages won't work out and no decent man would want you after.
Yep. There it is. There it is.
Mother. Apparently, she told them this regularly, and they all married white people anyways. The thing is that I am 9 years younger than the youngest of them, so I guess I was never included in these talks. She never once mentioned to me about race and who I should or shouldn't date. I don't know why I never received these messages. Moreover, I guess I'm just blind because they also told me I was the favorite child because I was the only boy. I assumed my parents paid for everyone's first car and college, but I guess it was just mine. Golden child.
Baby.
I'm thinking, like, as the older siblings, like, is there not a responsibility to shine the light on the true nature?
I feel like it would organically come up before this point, especially if he was dating a black woman.
Yeah, it would have to come up at some point.
Oh, I'm sorry. Once they see, they're like, tell me they're not like, yo, like, watch out because mom's insanely fucking racist.
They were really mad at me for what I put fiance through and not realizing things. But I feel like that's unfair because how am I supposed to know they were mistreated compared to me if I was just a child when they were in college? I guess the close relationship I thought I had was just an illusion. I told my fiance that I was with her until I pass away, and I don't care if they all cut me off and that I'm siding with her always.
Yes.
I should have done this from the beginning because she's really not the kind of person to call people racist, and I never knew her to be super political. After talking with my sisters, I hung up, almost crying, which I normally don't do. But I went and told my fiance everything I had learned, and we had just held each other for a while. She's not really mad at me, but just sad about the whole situation. And we talked a lot about whether to cut my parents out completely or not. I know for sure we will not let them around our future children. Also, my sisters called me back and told me they're sorry that they were so harsh on me. But I really hope I don't lose all my family from this. I also found out my dad has those Ring cameras installed, and I asked to see the videos from that day, but he told me that they were already deleted or overwritten, but I would really like to see it in person for closure. Overall, I'm sorry for the storm this caused on here, but I decided to update because I keep seeing alerts and messages from people. Maybe somebody will find this helpful. And by the way, I bet you'd find it pretty helpful knowing that there are full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio and wherever you listen to podcasts. All you got to do is search OK Storytime, and there you go. There it is. The archive is right there in my hands.
That is helpful.
It's in blips and bloops.
You just helped me.
Bits and bops.
Thank you, Dakota.
You're welcome. Do we have any final thoughts here?
Yeah, man. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I'm really glad that Opie and his fiance are he's there supporting her for this, because that's what she needs right now. That is a horrific thing to hear. And the fact that he's like, hey, like, you are he's like, you are my family. You know, that's a beautiful thing. I choose you. And that's a beautiful thing.
Top comment. Viola's DIL. I'm glad that your sisters sorted you out. But remember that this has disproportionately affected them and your fiance. Even if you weren't intentionally blind, you do need to cool it with complaining about how this is unfair to you. Nosy Reader 96 says, I really hate that he says his fiance isn't super political, as if being racist is political. It's not. Being racist just makes you an a-hole. Hannah Nobira, or how standing up to racism is equivalent to taking a political stance. Savage Fleur de Lis 23 says, it's only politics to people whose lives aren't affected. I like all those comments. It's okay.
Yeah. It's just, at the end of the day, it's just actually treating someone good with human decency, not even politics.
Boom.
Boom.